So we've got our first guest in the studio tonight, Captain Cole, Naomi Cole from Crawley Wasps. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to Meridian.
No, thanks for having me, guys.
Pleasure. It's good to have you in. So, Captain of Crawley Wasps. Crawley Wasps are having what looks like to us a fantastic season so far. Only lost one game in the league. Top of the FA Women's Southern Premier League. That's right, isn't it? How's the season been so far?
It's been great. You know, we've come up 2 leagues and we've started off pretty well. We've only lost the one game, like you said, a couple of weeks ago to Watford, but considering, you know, we've come from a lower league, we're quite happy with how we've started off, and we're enjoying actually starting off with those wins, and we'll see how it goes from there.
How has because this is the highest level that Crawley Wasps has played in the women's game. Obviously, the women's pyramid has changed quite a lot in the last few years. I know that from I follow Palace ladies quite a lot, and I've been to see Palace. I think I came down to watch Crawley Wasps play in a friendly.
Oh, did you?
A few summers ago, I think it was.
Oh, okay. We played them this pre-season actually.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it wasn't. It was a couple of years ago. Palace ladies played, but obviously, Palace are in a similar pyramid. But obviously, this is the highest level that you've played at in the women's game. How have you found it since start? Obviously, done great so far, but how have you found the opposition?
We're just still finding our feet a little bit, really. Yeah. We've got a lot of players that have played at this level or higher, so we're quite fortunate in that sense. But in terms of the club and as a whole, we're trying to build a kind of nice brand in Crawley area just to make people aware of what we've got going on in the area. But like you said, the results have kind of shown that we have the capability of doing well in this league, and we just want to keep promoting that and keep this ball rolling in the right direction. And
you were saying off air just then that you haven't actually played to your capabilities yet. You don't feel like you've played as well as you probably could have done, and you're top in the league already. I think you're 2 points clear at the moment from a couple of other sides on 12 points, which is a fantastic start. But obviously, better things to come if you can actually hit that peak.
Yeah, I think the girls will agree with me in a sense that we feel like we can do better, and there's some performances that we feel like we haven't really kind of got out of third gear yet. And I think, with 6 new players coming into the team, that is going to make a difference. And we do have injuries already and other factors that have come into it. But for us, we're just kind of wanting to prove a point to everybody, and I'm confident in what we've got in terms of the players and the capabilities. I mean, we had a hard pre-season in terms of the teams we played, but I don't think that should be anything to go against what we can.
I think if you have a hard pre-season, I think it actually sets you up better for the extra season coming
100%. I think that's why we agreed with the fixtures that we had put in place. We played 3 championship sides, so they're the division above us, and they are part-time. Some of them are now full-time in that championship league. So it's definitely good to test ourselves against those teams. And last season we had 5-6 fixtures against teams in the league above, and we managed to beat them. So we need to kind of set our stall quite high from the start to then set that standard, and we've got to keep going in that direction.
There's no good playing teams pre-season. You're going to beat 7-0, 8-0 and just
cruise.
You
don't learn anything.
No, exactly.
You don't know anything about the players around you either. So.
No.
Definitely, that's definitely decent.
How has the club changed as a how long have you been at the club?
This will be my 3rd full season. I started halfway through the season before that, so this will be kind of my 3rd full season at the club. It has changed a lot,
even in that short space of time.
Yeah, 100%. We've been promoted every season when I've been there for a full season. And going through those leagues, it does change and develop in that sense. And I think just even like the media side of things, that everyone takes on board the level you're at. You start talking about the teams that you're playing against. We've got Watford in our league, and people are like, oh, okay, that's a Premier League team. Yeah. You've got Portsmouth in your league, that's a big name side, things like that. So for us, it's something that we want to keep pushing on and promoting in the area, like I keep saying.
I think it's got to be a great time for women's football at the minute.
Oh,
I think
definitely.
It's got to be an absolutely fantastic time.
I mean,
obviously when me and Jay were about, when we were playing football years ago, we never had it at all. So to see it coming on so strong now is just such a fantastic thing. Yeah, well,
since not the World Cup this summer, but the previous World Cup, I think it really hit home that summer when we talked about it on the show then. Covered the Women's World Cup, and it was just a real eye opener for a lot of people, and it's kind of gone from strength to strength since then. But how has that affected clubs like Crawley yourselves? Has it seen more people come through the doors and training and wanting to play football?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've only got to look into our youth system to see how that's played a factor. I mean, I've got one of the girls that works in the youth system behind me at the minute, Lydia, and she said that the team has kind of quadrupled since the start of it. So it just shows that there is that capacity for girls to want to play football. Even, they're about between 6 and 8 years old, and they want to play football. They know that already, and they've got those role models to look at nowadays, whereas where I was that age, you couldn't really look at anybody. It was more men's football you was looking at. And now
the States, wasn't it? It's more bigger in the States than anywhere else. Unless you followed it in the States, you kind of like, there was nothing over here, was there at all?
No, not at all.
Nobody was interested. Nobody would put any money into it, and but now it is fantastic.
Oh, it's changed. And I was having this conversation earlier in the week with somebody about men's football, women's football, and for me, it's taken a long time for men's football to get to a point where it is now raking in the money like it has done over the Premier League has seen for X amount of years. So it's always going to take time for the women's game to happen. But the sponsorship deals that have come in this year for women's football in this country, I mean, the Women's Premier League from the top two divisions have now had money pumped into it as well, and that must feed through down, not financially, but obviously interest wise as well, through to clubs like yourselves, Crawley Wasps. Obviously, how do you find it? Because you're not actually linked to Crawley Town, are you, as such?
No, not directly at the moment, but we are starting to make strides in terms of becoming a little bit more integrated with Crawley, and there is that a lot more access in terms of Crawley Town and Crawley Wasps. There's that link, and I think if our name gets mentioned at Crawley Town a lot more, people start becoming aware of it, and we're fortunate enough that we have people now within Crawley Wasps that have that access to Crawley to be like, there is a women's club that is massive in this area, and if you two integrate, you can build a really, really good fan base.
They should. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't do that.
Not at all.
Really.
Not at all. I mean, you're looking at a division. You just mentioned Watford, who are a Premier League side, and the women's side are linked to that. Portsmouth as well, and other clubs. They kind of got that financial backing in that way, whereas a club like Crawley have come from grassroots all the way up. I haven't started at a top level. You look at the side like Man United coming into the league this year, having a team formed quite recently because of really the publicity around the women's game, isn't it? They haven't had a team for 15, 20 years, isn't it? I think they were saying, and they've actually, a big club like that getting the interest to actually put a club side together. Don't necessarily agree that they should have come in at the level they did, but that's another story completely. Do you think the pyramid has changed now to a point where it's actually going to be kind of a stable thing now, and new clubs coming into it can actually see a vision of working their way through?
You'd like to think so. I think the sustainability of the leagues is growing as such, but you look at some teams that have been in those top leagues but they haven't kind of stayed there. Take for instance Yeovil, that are in our league. They were in the WSL top division last season, and they dropped down 2 divisions because financially they couldn't sustain what was happening, and we managed to beat them, which was a great result for us. And it just shows that without that finance behind it, factors can change at the club. They can go from being a very top side in the country to then struggling to pick up points in the league that we're in. But again, that just shows the quality that we actually have actually got in our league. So I feel like a lot of girls in this country as well are being dropped down into lower divisions because of the fact there is that financial influx, and they're being able to get the foreign players in as well. I think I saw a stat the other day, there was about 45% of foreign players in the top division nowadays.
Really?
It's crazy to think.
Creeping into women's
exactly,
games.
which is a shame, really. But
I would never have thought that. Yeah, and it is a shame.
It is a shame. But then again, the quality that is in the second division and our league is absolutely fantastic. And I think if anyone's kind of interested in wanting to come and see that, and it will be on show, 100%.
Well, on that point, you play at East Court on Saturday. You play Oxford United. A league game, a big game. Obviously, you're top of the table. You want to keep that going. What are your thoughts on the game going into that one?
It's going to be a big game. We've played Oxford already this season. We played them in the National League Cup and we beat them 1-0, which was a pretty tight game, and it was probably on the hottest day of the year. I remember it quite well because we played on 3G as well, so it made it 10 times hotter. But it seems like when we've played them the last 2 times, we've kind of nicked a result against them, and they feel a little bit hard done by. So I think they're going to come, guns blazing at us on Sunday. So it's important that we keep showing our quality when we do play Oxford, and it's always a competitive game. Both teams play really, really good football. Definitely. Both have got very, very good sets of players. So I would encourage people to literally come down to East Court on Sunday and just see what it's all about.
And have you acclimatised to East Court? Obviously, we chat to the guys at East Grinstead a lot. They come on the show here. Lovely venue, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Nice pitch.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. And the fact that, it's got the yellow and black colours, it's the Wasps. It's kind of apt, really, that we're there. And a lot of the girls warmed to it after the first game, and we've been encouraging to stay there. So I think it'd be nice if we could stay there as long as possible. But again, this is another factor behind us as being a club that we are. We haven't actually got a stable home ground at the minute. So if East Court is going to be our home ground, then fantastic. We've settled in well there, and the guys have warmed to us really well. We're grateful for what they've done there, and it'd be nice if we could stay there, but again, we just don't know where we're going to play the next home game.
Yeah. It'd be nice for you to have that consistency and knowing that you know, because that's kind of a key, isn't it? Playing on a surface you kind of used to. That's kind of an advantage for home teams, isn't it? Definitely. Really, that you find. Just quickly moving on, we're coming up to 9 o'clock news. It's been a really good chat. Thanks for coming in. We'll have to have you in later on in the season as well.
Definitely. I'd love to do that.
You're playing Oxford at home on Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoff.
Yes.
People can just pop down. I'm not sure what the gate, how much it is to get in, but I've got the details here, so I'll share that later on in the show. £5 to get in for adults and free for kids, is it? Yeah?
Yeah.
£1. Yeah, I'll check that out and I'll confirm that. So it's 2 o'clock at East Court on Saturday. Just go and catch a game of football and support a local club. It's great, and obviously Crawley Wasps are doing really well, top of the division at the moment.
Definitely.
So hopefully you can keep it going. Just want to quickly touch on the World Cup in the summer. Obviously, a lot was talked about the World Cup and its impact on the women's game in this country domestically, and I think it's had as much impact as the World Cup 4 years prior to that. A lot happened, obviously, England playing USA, and really disappointing for England not to get to the final, but met their match against USA. What your thoughts on England's performance in the competition?
I thought they'd done really well up until that point, and then it gets to the kind of semi-final point, and it's a collective thing with England in general. It's like this. There's this mental block.
Semi-finals. That's it.
But to be fair, I know a lot of the girls, and they were very, very disappointed that they didn't match or better what they'd done 4 years prior to that, because you know the bronze medal they got out in Canada was fantastic, and they felt like they could go that one step further with Phil Neville behind.
Starting off, it looked like they were going to go all the way.
100%.
Watching some of the early games, you thought actually, you know, this could be England's year. They look really good, but then obviously the USA are a really good side.
Tough side, and deserved to win in the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
The USA. I was out in the States at the time, that last 2 weeks leading up to the final, and it's amazing how USA get behind their side. You know, the women's game as well. I mean, you know, we witnessed it.
The women's game's always been big in the
States. It is. But obviously seeing it from that perspective, that the women's game hasn't been huge in this country before. And obviously mentioned the World Cup 4 years before, that England did well and got the bronze. And that was kind of really this country's first real interest in women's football.
I mean, I think
at
the
that
television
level.
coverage helps massively.
It does, hugely,
and it's
hugely.
And they should show every single game.
Yeah, definitely.
Terrestrial TV, every game.
It's great to see sponsorship and money coming into women's game, particularly domestically now. Megan Rapinoe was very outspoken after the World Cup and has been ever since. Do you agree with her points of view, or is that a bit of a...
I can understand it from their point of view. You know, they graft, especially over in America, and like you said, they get the exposure that they get.
I'll tell you what, I completely agree with her.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
The exposure they get out there and the amount that they actually generate in America in terms of football and publicity, and you look at what they've achieved in terms of their team, it can't be touched in America. And in comparison to the men's side, unfortunately, you know, they are more successful, and it's an argument they kind of have to keep fighting until they do get a little bit more from it.
Yeah. Definitely, when you look at American sports as well as a whole, you know, the amount of money that quarterbacks in the NFL get paid and other sports, it does seem, and myself being out there is really a real big eye opener seeing Americans actually, you know, as fervent about the women's side as they are about the men's side or any other sport, which, you know, proper, you know, equal support across all sports, which is great, and you know, want to see more of that. Yeah. Good luck on Saturday. Good luck for the rest of the season. Sunday. Saturday. I don't know why do I keep saying Saturday. Sunday even. We'll have to have you back in later on in the season.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
And come and chat to us. Good luck between now and then. Thank you for coming in.
I'm definitely going to catch a game one time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's only local, so stone's throw away.
I can't this Sunday. I've got vets.
Yeah, true. Although not at Yeovil, because that must have been some journey down to Yeovil.
Yeah, we was at Keynsham on the weekend as well, which was a bit of a slog as well.
Is it really? I don't know where
we've got
Keynsham
Cardiff
is.
as well in our league, so yeah.
God.
But that one's the last game of the season, so we might be able to, you know, make a weekend of that one.
Yeah,
but
relax.
We'll see how the season goes first. We'll
Fingers
take it
crossed.
game at a time, and then we'll work from there.
Definitely. Well, really encourage people to pop down and see the Crawley Wasps play at East Court, East Grinstead Town's ground, stone's throw away from here. Easy access, great little venue to go and watch football, and hopefully weather stays nice for Sunday. Good luck.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
no problem.
Cheers.
Thank you.